I never thought I'd be the kind of man telling this story, but here I am, sitting in my apartment at 3 a.m., staring at the city lights, wondering how the woman I loved more than my own life could turn into a stranger overnight. Her name was Sophie. The first time I saw her, I was a 26-year-old architecture graduate working late nights in a dusty old design firm. She walked in for an interview, hair tied back, white blouse, navy skirt, confident smile, and I swear, my heart forgot how to beat for a moment. We didn't start dating immediately. She got the job, and for the first few weeks, we were just friendly colleagues. But slowly, coffee breaks turned into late-night talks. She would tell me about her dreams of traveling the world, owning a little bookstore by the beach, and living a quiet, happy life. I believed her. I believed every word. Back then, my life wasn't glamorous. I wasn't rich, but I worked hard. I lived in a small one-bedroom apartment, drove an old Honda, and saved every penny I could. Sophie never seemed to care about money, or so I thought. She used to say, "I don't need luxury, I just need love." And I gave her love. Every drop of it. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. I remember that night clearly. I took her to the rooftop of my building. I had fairy lights, candles, a cheap bottle of wine, and a ring I had saved up for 8 months to buy. She cried when I asked. Said yes, without hesitation. I thought I was the luckiest man alive. The first year of marriage was perfect. We cooked together, laughed together, even fought over silly things like whose turn it was to do the laundry. We didn't have much, but we had each other. That was enough for me. Then things started to change. It began when Sophie got promoted. Her new position meant more responsibilities, and a new boss, Ethan Carter. He was everything I wasn't: tall, sharp-dressed, wealthy, and the kind of man who made women turn their heads when he walked into a room. I didn't think much of it at first. I trusted Sophie completely. But soon, the late nights at the office became more frequent. The work trips started happening every month. She stopped asking me how my day was. Stopped looking at me the same way she used to. The first time I noticed something was wrong was one Friday night. She came home smelling like expensive cologne, a scent I didn't wear. When I asked about it, she laughed and said, "Oh, it's probably from the office. Ethan was showing us his new perfume." I wanted to believe her. I told myself I was just overthinking, but deep down, a small voice whispered that I was losing her. One evening, I surprised her at her office with dinner. I walked in, smiling, holding her favorite pasta, but she wasn't there. Her desk was empty. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I asked the receptionist, who said Sophie had left hours ago with Ethan. That night, she came home past midnight. No apology, no explanation. Just a quick kiss on the cheek, and I'm exhausted. "Let's talk tomorrow." I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding. The next morning, I found something that confirmed my worst fears. Her phone was buzzing on the nightstand while she was in the shower. A message lit up the screen. "Ethan, last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again." My hands went cold. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. That was the moment my world began to collapse. I couldn't sleep that night. The image of Lily in that restaurant, smiling at another man, burned in my mind like a scar I couldn't erase. Every laugh she gave him felt like a knife twisting deeper into my chest. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I made her coffee, the way she liked it: 2 sugars, a little milk, not too hot. She took it without even looking at me. Scrolling through her phone, I noticed her screen light up with a message from someone named Chris. "Chris?" I asked casually, pretending not to care. "Oh, he's just a colleague," she said, too quickly, her voice a little higher than usual. "We're working on a project." Her eyes didn't meet mine. I smiled and nodded, but inside, I knew something was wrong. Later that day, I drove past her office. I wasn't planning to spy, just wanted to see her, but she wasn't there. Her car wasn't in the parking lot. I waited for a while, and that's when I saw her, walking out of a hotel lobby. My heart dropped. She was with him, the same man from the restaurant. They were laughing, their hands brushing, like they were sharing some secret the world wasn't supposed to know. I felt my blood run cold. She didn't see me? I drove away before she could, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight they hurt. That night, she came home late, smelling faintly of a cologne I didn't wear. She kissed me on the cheek like nothing happened. "Long day?" I asked. "Yeah," she sighed. "Work's exhausting." I wanted to scream. I wanted to demand the truth, but I stayed silent. I had a plan now. I wasn't going to confront her yet. I was going to find out exactly how deep this betrayal went, and when the time came, I'd make sure she never forgot what she'd done. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying every moment in my head: her sudden coldness, the way she avoided my eyes, the late-night phone calls she thought I couldn't hear. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I had been blind. The next morning, I acted normal. I made breakfast like nothing happened. She came down late, already dressed for work, barely touching her coffee. "Early meeting?" I asked casually. "Yeah, big project coming up," she mumbled, not meeting my eyes. I smiled, hiding the storm inside me. I'll drop you off, I said. No, she replied too quickly. I mean, I'll just go with a colleague. Saves you the trouble. That confirmed my suspicion. Something was going on, and I wasn't going to just sit and wonder. I was going to find out. That afternoon, I followed her. I kept a safe distance, careful not to be seen. She didn't go to her office. She went to a luxury hotel downtown. My chest tightened when I saw him, her boss, Daniel, the same man she had once told me was just a friend at work. They laughed together as they walked in, his hand brushing hers. I stood frozen, my whole world crashing down in front of me. I wanted to walk up, confront them, shout every emotion I was feeling, but I didn't. Instead, I took photos. Every moment, every smile they shared. That night, she came home late, claiming she had been working overtime. I just nodded, pretending to believe her. Thanks for understanding, she said, kissing my cheek. Her lips felt cold. I'm bed. I stared at the ceiling. She was lying right next to me, but I had never felt more alone. The next day, I went to see my lawyer. If she thought I was some clueless, heartbroken husband, she was wrong. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to make sure she would regret every choice she made, but to do that, I had to be patient. Because the perfect revenge takes time. Asterisk. When I woke up the next morning, the rain had stopped. But the world outside still looked gray, as if the sky itself shared my grief. I sat by the window, watching droplets slide down the glass, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. The silence in my apartment was deafening. There was no sound of Emily's laughter, no footsteps moving around the kitchen, no voice calling my name, just emptiness. I had promised myself I wouldn't cry anymore, but promises are easy to make when your heart is in pieces. The moment I thought about her face, the way she used to look at me, tears rolled down before I could stop them. I tried to distract myself by going to work, but even my colleagues noticed I wasn't the same. My mind wandered. Every email I wrote, every meeting I attended, it all felt meaningless. And worst of all, Mark had stopped coming to the office for a while, as if he was hiding from me, or maybe from his own guilt. But fate has a strange way of working. One afternoon, I was walking home when I passed by a small cafe. Through the window, I saw Emily. She wasn't alone. Across the table sat a man in an expensive suit, the same man I'd seen her with that night. They weren't smiling. In fact, Emily looked upset, her hands clenched around her coffee cup. I could have walked away. I could have ignored it. But something in me told me this was my moment. I stepped inside and walked straight to their table. Her eyes widened when she saw me, panic flashing across her face. The man looked at me with mild annoyance, as if I was interrupting something important. Hello, Emily, I said calmly, keeping my voice steady. It's been a while. She fumbled for words. Daniel, this isn't. I cut her off. Don't worry, I'm not here to cause a scene. I just wanted to thank you. Thank me, she echoed, clearly confused. Yes, I said, leaning slightly closer, because losing you showed me the truth. I thought you left for something better, but now, I see you're still searching for it. The man frowned. Do you know him? He asked her, but Emily didn't respond. She just stared at me, her lips trembling. I straightened up. I hope you find what you're looking for, Emily. I really do, but some things, once you throw them away, you can never get back. I left before she could say another word. My heart was pounding, but for the first time in months, I felt lighter. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her to apologize. I just needed her to know she had lost something real. That night, I slept without waking up in the middle. And when I dreamed, it wasn't of her anymore. It was of the future I was finally ready to build without her. The day of the auction arrived. The grand hall was packed with wealthy businessmen, investors, and curious spectators. Crystal chandeliers glistened above, and the air buzzed with anticipation. I entered in a tailored black suit, my presence commanding silent attention. Across the room, Sarah sat with Ryan, looking nervous. She hadn't seen me yet. The host began announcing the auction items: luxury cars, rare art, and finally, the crown jewel of the evening, a historical estate on the outskirts of the city. This estate, the host said, was once owned by one of the wealthiest families in Europe. Starting bid $2 million. Ryan raised his hand almost instantly, smirking. Sarah glanced at him with pride, though her eyes betrayed a hint of uncertainty. The bidding war began. $2 million. Ryan called out. 2.5. Someone countered. 3. Ryan replied confidently. I stayed silent until the price reached $5 million. Then I raised my hand. 10 million. The room gasped. Even the host hesitated for a second before confirming the bid. Ryan's confidence wavered, but his ego pushed him forward. 11 million, he said loudly. I looked him straight in the eye, my voice calm but firm. 20 million. Whispers spread through the crowd. Ryan froze. His jaw tightened, and Sarah's face went pale. He leaned toward her, whispering something I couldn't hear. After a tense pause, he lowered his hand. The auctioneer slammed his gavel. Sold. To the gentleman in the black suit. As I stood to sign the papers, Sarah finally saw me clearly. Her eyes widened in shock. "You," she whispered when I walked past her. I leaned slightly toward her. "Did you really think I'd disappear forever?" I said quietly. "Some lessons you have to learn the hard way." I left her sitting there, speechless. But the night wasn't over. Later, outside the venue, reporters swarmed around me, cameras flashing. Ryan and Sarah walked out a few minutes later, and that's when the biggest twist unfolded in front of everyone. One of the reporters turned to Sarah. "Miss, is it true you left this man for your current fiancé?" The microphone swung toward her. Her lips trembled. Ryan stepped forward, about to answer for her, but I raised a hand. "It's okay," I said to the crowd. "People make choices. Some choose loyalty, others choose greed. But in the end, every choice has a price." Then I turned to Sarah one last time. "Enjoy your wedding. Just remember, regret doesn't fade easily." I walked away into the night, the cameras still flashing, while Sarah stood frozen in the cold, the reality of her decisions crashing down on her. Ryan looked frustrated, already pulling away from her arm. That was the last time I ever saw her, and I made sure that was the only memory she'd have of me, strong, untouchable, and far beyond the reach of the man she once thought wasn't enough.